The
Elitist
Pizza
Podcast.
I'd give it like an 8.5. It's fine. It's a fine episode, not a home run, but you don't need to hit one every time. A lot
Hey,
of
I'd give it about an 8. It was solid.
yeah, good solid episode.
It was setting something up. I think that the last episode was like this too, where it's just kind of like the setup. It's kind of just build some rising action. Well, that's good. That's something that you kind of need.
Right.
Had a few cool fight scenes. Um, I think it had some cool sort of ethical dilemmas in it. Some cool there's like a Frankenstein's monster type plot line in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. It's not something we've kind of gotten from this yet. Kind of the deeper, more allegorical story. And I like those kinds of stories. I'm like a big Star Trek fan and stuff. So.
Right.
All right. Move on to the spoilers. So this one really just focuses on Mark. So Mark and Amber. Well, it also focuses on Eve. There's like a subplot with Eve and then there's another subplot with Robot and Mark's parents. So like Eve fights with her parents, which I think this is pretty funny, like because her dad's like just a terrible dad,
Right.
and so she like as like when she's just like, okay, I'm not gonna talk to you, she'll use her powers. It's like the dad was yelling at her like from the other side of a doorway. She just like made the doorway not exist anymore and it's just wall. And I just think that's pretty funny. Like in another episode, she like made a doorway, like made a window or something or a door, like on the second floor and then walked out and like flew away. That was just kind of cool. But Eve says, "Why do I?" Eve says something along the lines of, "Why am I waiting for aliens to come to help people? Like I can just help people now." Especially because she has the unique ability with like these almost godlike powers to just manipulate matter. And I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I think that this kind of questions what superheroes do with their powers, or what superhumans do with their powers in these kinds of stories, don't necessarily make sense. Because, there's she visits some people who are attempting to grow plants in an environment that is currently suffering through a drought. And she, like, pretty much magically makes plants there. And think about, like, considering this, there's so much good that she can do. And that just seems like a no-brainer. Like Storm, for example. I don't know if she does this. I don't know much about Storm, but like, couldn't she like make rain happen in places that need it? You know, like you don't always have to be saving. It doesn't always have to be a reactive helping people. It can also be a proactive helping people.
But then you get people who are dependent on you and your superpowers. When you're not there,
That
then what?
that was something I thought of. I was like, well, especially like with the wildfires, because like wildfires are kind of necessary. Because it's like if you don't have little wildfires, eventually there'll be so much foliage that you'll get a huge wildfire. Or like she stops an avalanche. I don't know if it was an avalanche, but it was a mudslide or something. It's like to some extent natural disasters kind of have to happen. So is she kind of messing with the natural order of things? And I think that this also applies to superheroes in general. Like, if, should people really be dependent upon these superheroes to protect them? But I think that that's kind of ridiculous, because then couldn't you say that about anything? Like if someone's having a heart attack, couldn't you just say, well, to this person, I don't want people to be dependent on other people. I mean, doesn't that just get ridiculous if you apply it consistently?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but that's pretty much her whole arc. She like makes this house in like some trees. She just was flying around. She was like, "Yeah, I'll make my house there." And I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, I think I might do something like that if I was her. I'd probably be a nomad,
Yeah.
going wherever. I'd probably make some money off of it too. Probably just sell like, be like, "Hey, I can make whatever you need into a farm. Take some land, I can make you grow anything on it. Tomatoes, weed, whatever." She can be a millionaire.
She could be, but she's a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
Plus, I wouldn't. Why would you need? She could just make money. Well, I guess yeah, it's counterfeiting, but still, I mean, if she's evil, she'd just make money.
Oh, I see. I was like, "What do you mean?" I was talking about a way she could make money. I was thinking like literally. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, we would here at the Elitist Pizza Podcast, we are against counterfeiting and all criminal enterprise in any form. Uh, so the A plot is Mark, William, his friend, who we haven't really seen too much of, and is it Amanda?
Amber.
Why do I keep? I don't know why it's so difficult for me to remember this character's name, but they go upstate in New York to this campus, check it out, and um, I guess it actually starts out with this guy kidnapping this person. What do you think? And so the very beginning of the episode, a guy gets kidnapped, and this guy is like cutting him open, saying like, "I'll make you perfect." Does this remind you of like a Batman villain?
Yeah, kind of seems like that's what they were going for. You see that with a lot of the villains in here. They're
Yeah,
similar to
that's
somebody
true.
from somewhere else.
I thought he was kind. I thought he was. It was kind of interesting. It was almost like he was a combination between like. It was almost like if Professor Pig was also a Nazi or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like not only will I make you perfect, but like this is for like the betterment of mankind, like this science paint by numbers thing. I thought that was just kind of cool because a lot of the villains we've seen so far have just been kind of like mustache twirlers. But I mean, on some level, I can kind of see where he's coming from.
Right.
Um, but so they're hanging out, um, the three of them, and the cyborg like jumps up out of the sewers or whatever. And I was kind of thinking about this because when he runs towards the civilians, it almost looked like it was a cry for help because it wasn't like he was trying to touch them, but it didn't look like he was trying to attack them until the civilians started attacking him. Did you notice this, or
Uh,
do you think I'm wrong?
no, I think you're right. I mean, especially based on what happens a little bit later in that fight
Yeah,
scene, I think that's what they were going for.
and I thought that was it's like he was the victim. He was the real victim here. It was like he couldn't even talk. Like he opened his mouth and he was just bleeding. And so Mark runs away, classic Superman Spider Man thing, and comes back as Mark to save William. And William looks up and he realizes this is Mark. I guess it's especially because they're so close to each other, and he didn't even know Invincible was there. So he just looked up and he was like, "Oh, there's this person that looks like Mark. Oh, wait, that's Invincible." And this guy actually gives Invincible a run for his money,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
I thought was significant. Um, but then he ends up killing himself on a huge sundial, which was pretty tragic. Like Mark removes like he's got like this helmet visor thing that's got like a one lens. Mark removes it, and it's like the guy looks in like the water, and it's almost like he forgot he was a human or something.
Hmm.
He like remove, which is kind of this is kind of gross, but he like removes a part of the skin. It's almost like he's like, oh my god, like I was a person. What did I become? And then he kills himself,
Hmm.
which is really dark. Pretty pretty intense. What happens after that?
Um, not too sure. I think we go to Debbie Grayson, and she's talking to the guy who makes Omni Man suit. I mean, you skipped a whole bunch of stuff anyway, but um,
Oh,
she's making she's putting the final pieces together of Omni Man
I didn't even
slaughtering
remember seeing this
the
part.
Guardians of the Globe, and they're chilling, and then Omni Man's like looking over them, like watching them do it. You know, because he's starting to realize that she's figuring stuff out, and she's being like real
Mm-hmm.
secretive and stuff. So that happens. We also see Monster Girl and Black Samson, who are both not dead and are in the hospital. And Robot
Correct.
helps fix Monster Girl, and you see that Robot's a little bit more human than what you may assume. And Black Samson, you know, he's fine somehow. He's all right. Um,
Which is, well, I actually want to talk more about that because Robot, he says, I'm programmed to care for all humans. I don't know. That just seems kind of feel like that's not true. Like I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying it's part of his program or something, but that just didn't sit right with me. Also, the part with Black Samson, it was like something with the electricity
yeah, maybe he's
saved him.
starting to get his powers back.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Do you know what his powers were?
I can't remember. Not really.
I wonder if there's something sinister there, or if it's just like because with this show, sometimes it's like when something new is revealed, there's like a conspiracy behind it.
Right.
So I'm not sure if like Black Samson never really even lost his powers. Like you don't know. Like with Invincible, it's great. They just throw you curveballs like that.
Right. Right.
What else did I miss?
Those are the two major things. Aside from like Debbie starting to figure stuff out, and Omni Man kind of knows she's getting closer to finding out his secret, and also the we find out, you know, Amber makes another excuse for Mark, saying he got hit by a truck, which actually is pretty accurate. Um, but we really start to see Mark think about his future, um, which is why he went to the university. He didn't just go on a whim, but
That's
he
true.
started thinking about more of his future and life outside. Maybe starting to think about a little bit of life outside of superheroing. And he's promising Amber,
Yeah,
"Oh yeah, I'll be there for you the whole time." Blah blah blah. Um,
because he says something like, "Hey, this is what I want. Like I want to be in this college with you." She's like, "Yeah." It was like she didn't even question it. She was
right.
like, "Yeah, I want to be with you," which is pretty like sweet, cute, romantic. Um, yeah,
Then she's all mad that Mark for some reason didn't stay for the monster fight, which is in and of itself pretty stupid. Because he said he went to go get help, and she's like crying and like mad about it, and it's like you have to be completely stupid to think, yeah, you. She doesn't know he's invincible. You have to be stupid to think that this regular dude is gonna sit there
yeah.
while this monster is like attacking humans and be like, you know what? I just won't get attacked.
That's
Or
a good point.
I'll
I didn't
jump
even
in,
consider that.
I'll jump in and I'll save these people and then die. I mean, obviously he won't die because he's invincible, but she doesn't know that, and
Yeah,
I think she's just being stupid. A part of it feels like she's just looking for another reason to dump Mark. To be honest, especially after we see what happens in the later in the episode, it just feels like she's looking for an excuse to get out of this relationship.
that's interesting. I think that she is well because they kind of set it up that she had like some sort of ex who was kind of like doing shit behind her back. I guess she's probably insecure about it.
Yeah,
Um, I thought that like surely it would be kind of like she would put two and two together. Like I thought she was gonna be like, maybe this guy is invincible. Like,
Yeah, I was thinking either that or she's just stupid. I'm sorry to say that, but that's kind of dumb, right? I mean, let's say I had a girlfriend and she's a superhero and I didn't know it, and we're getting attacked by this monster, and she runs away to go and she tells me she's running away to get help. Don't you think the proper response would be like, "Oh man, thanks," or
yeah, it'd
"Good
be
good
like
thinking," instead of being
because
like,
someone should go get
"Oh
help.
yeah,
Not everybody can't be here to deal with it. Somebody should go get someone else.
yeah," and
That's just true.
maybe, and then the superhero shows up. Maybe I'm like, "Oh, maybe she got invincible," right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then she's just like, "Oh no, you're a bad person for not staying here and potentially dying. You're the worst, Mark. Oh my god."
because it's like, how would a superhero show up within like literally 1 minute if the superhero wasn't already there?
Right.
Like, just use your fucking head. I guess she might be thinking maybe Invincible has like ridiculous hearing or something.
Yeah, I mean that's not completely ridiculous. I mean, look at Superman, right? I mean, obviously Invincible's not
Exactly.
going around spouting all his powers to everybody, so she obviously doesn't
Yeah,
know his
it's
abilities.
not like
Well,
common knowledge.
didn't
Especially
she
not just
ask?
gonna be looking up every superhero's powers.
Didn't she literally ask who that was? So she might not even know who Invincible is. I'm pretty sure she was like, "Who is that guy?" or something like that. Somebody
That
asked.
makes sense.
Somebody asked. It might have been either the dude that William was with or her.
I don't know, man. I mean, New York was invaded by aliens, and he was on the
Well,
team who saved him.
whatever city
She
they live
wouldn't.
in, I don't
Did
think
she?
they
Okay.
actually live in New York.
Well, they said upstate.
No, the
Okay. Well, it's
university
heavily.
was called Upstate It was literally called Upstate University.
Okay. Or
I could
whatever
go,
city it is.
I could go upstate Virginia if I. Well, I live in Northern Virginia, so I guess it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But I could.
Upstate New York. Okay.
I mean, I think it's supposed to be, but it's not actually New York.
Not New York. Okay. the aliens. Well, the aliens were invading where you lived. I mean, I think you might recognize one of the 5 people who single-handedly saved your planet and your city from invasion, right? I mean, I guess
Maybe.
maybe she's just not that interested in it. But anyway, yeah, it is pretty dumb. Like, I feel like that I would be. Maybe it's difficult for me to put myself in her shoes, but I feel like I'd be like, okay, like I would have just thought, is he invincible? That would have like crossed my mind, and then I would have cross-referenced it. Okay, that would explain why he's away all the time. That would explain how he goes and grabs things, like goes across the fucking
City.
city. That would explain why he didn't want to tell me where he went that one time when he went to the desert.
Right.
Um, and then it's just like, yeah, but I think you're right because it's that she's just looking for a thing to get out of the relationship, which is weird because everything she says is like she wants to be in it, and it seems like Invincible is like the best thing she's got going for her. I mean, we don't really see too much outside of her life with Invincible.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Then
what happens after that?
they get to the room and they're figuring out the sleeping arrangements, and obviously William's gonna go, not like literally, or though probably literally, but he was like, "I'm gonna sleep in the same room as whatever that dude's name was." Um,
Heinrich or whatever.
yeah, and then Mark and Amber were like, "Oh, Mark's like, yeah, I'll sleep with Amber." She's like, "No, I don't want to be near you. You didn't want to die, so you don't have a death wish. I don't want to be anywhere near you." Um, so she like closes and slams the door or whatever, and obviously the other dude gets kidnapped by D.A. Sinclair, who's he's like a genius and he goes to that school for some reason, even though
Yeah.
he said he was like courted by MIT and all that, which is probably true, but it's like, why pick this other school where
Maybe it would have
nobody
been
respects
easier
you?
to get. It would be easier to get like his drones, you know.
Yeah, I guess. But he kidnaps that dude. We see that they have a little back and forth in the classroom, and he kidnaps the guy
Yeah.
that William was with, and he takes him to his little area and makes him into like a robot dude, and then obviously William follows. Uh,
And
um, and
uh, Mark
Amber. Oh, sorry.
Amber gets invited to a party,
Right.
and Amber goes to the party, and Invincible's like, Mark's like, fine, whatever. And then William comes back and he's like, hey, like, he's so and so's gone. Like, help me find him, Invincible. And he's like, man, I got my girlfriend's going to a party. Like, I think he just thought that, like, oh, with the fucking phone, I don't care. So what, the phone got cut off? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
His head
Well,
really wasn't in the game.
get that, and it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where nobody cares about your problems but you. Like it was
Yeah.
like he was talking, and then William's like, "Yeah, I really don't care." Um, well, I think the guy gets kidnapped after
Oh,
that because
yeah.
William's like, "Take me flying, or I'm gonna tell everybody you're invincible."
Yeah, that's true.
So I think the guy wasn't even gone. He was just like, he's like, "Oh my god, you're invincible, blah blah blah. Why didn't you tell me?" And then he's like, "Hey man, I'm going through some stuff." And William's like, "Yeah, I don't care," which is fair. That's how people are. Nobody really cares about you, um, except for yourself. And it's like, oh yeah, oh, I don't really care what you got going on. Take me flying before I tell everybody. Which, what a, I mean, I guess that's somebody's reaction to find out your friend's a superhero, but like, you clearly see the man's going through it, and you're just
Yeah.
concerned about yourself. What a great friend. Amazing.
I didn't even think about that component of it. I mean, if I found out you were a superhero, I think I'd just cut you a lot more slack. That would explain why you're late all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, save the world. Um, I'd just be like, oh well, fuck.
Well, certainly if I was, I think certainly if I was very obviously going through something and you find out I'm a
Yeah, yeah,
superhero on the same day, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, take me flying or I'm going to tell everybody. I see
that's
you're going
true.
through something, but nobody cares about you and your problems.
Yeah, like, I mean, I would just be like, well, fuck, like, yeah, obviously this isn't sustainable for you. You're gonna have to pick one or the other. That'd probably be the advice I'd give you.
Pick one
I
or
mean,
the
if you were
other.
in Mark's position, like,
What, the girlfriend or the superhero?
or really about any of your, you'd have to really prioritize Mark. You need to prioritize Invincible. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
I don't know if I really
The
agree with
girlfriend is
that.
just a
You can.
component of that.
I don't know if I really agree with that. I mean, you can't. He can't be invisible 24/7, right? Just like Omni Man, he has his own life. Well, I guess kinda. What does he do?
That's a
Oh, I
good
never thought
point.
about
Right
this.
now,
What does Nolan do? I mean,
what is
maybe he just chills out at the house. Well, I mean, but then again, now that he is like the premier superhero, he's probably a lot more busy as Omni Man. But like
Yeah,
most
I think
superheroes
he.
can strike that balance. Most of them can. Well, not really. They don't do it well, but most of them have a life outside of superheroing just because, like, I mean,
I don't think it works out well though.
it depends on the
Like,
superhero. Like the Flash, it is a pretty good. It's pretty easy for him. But then again, he can be like
yeah, I was about to say that's kind of.
Superman,
He's literally can move his like the speed of light, so that doesn't
Superman,
really
Flash do a pretty
count.
good job. Who else? Spider Man sometimes. Um,
No, it's like it ruins his life.
sometimes. I mean, he's chilling. He got a wife, you know. He's married.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know as much about him as you do, but in all the
uh,
movies I've seen and stuff.
I mean, it's not the best thing for him, but he can't. He literally can't be Spider Man 24/7. There's just not enough for him to do, you know. It's he doesn't have like super hearing
Oh,
or
okay,
anything,
that's
so he
true.
can't. He can't. I mean, super hearing rather. He can't be like, oh my spider ears are telling me that something's going on. He's more of a. He's one of those
That's
heroes that
true.
like has to be reactionary because he can't. He's not like Superman. He can't. He doesn't have super hearing.
That's
Or
true.
who else? Who else does all right? I mean, no, I was gonna say Green Lantern, but that doesn't turn out well for most of them. Uh, what's his face
Like
had his girlfriend chopped up into tiny pieces and then thrown in his refrigerator, so that didn't go too well.
I hate it when.
Uh,
I think that. Well, I think that with Mark, I mean, he's just it's constantly ruining his life.
I think the biggest issue is that he's also in school. That's just
Yeah.
gonna make it way harder. Um, I don't know. Maybe when he gets out of high school, he should make like an online business or something. That way,
Oh yeah,
he's
they
his own
wouldn't have
boss. He
to.
works at his own time, and then he can do his superheroing stuff.
It's
I
actually a
mean,
good idea. Like if you're a superhero, you should do that.
maybe his like relationship won't be all that good, but it'll be all right. He could just be like, "Oh, I'm doing business
But I
stuff."
feel like that you have to. I would have to prioritize. I think I would prioritize being Mark. Like I'd be like, hey, I mean,
Yeah, well,
the world. Sometimes people are gonna die.
I
Got
wouldn't
a
go
life to
that
live.
far,
Like I'm
but
not good.
I do what he's doing now. Like, I'll save people when I can, but like, I'm not about to be out here being invincible 24/7. And then maybe sometimes to
Yeah, well,
Cecil,
I think that
I'll
like
probably say no to him a couple of times, especially because I don't work for that dude. So I no.
yeah, even when you work for some people, like if you get called into work, sometime like when I haven't been called into work at this job, but when I worked at Panda Express, sometimes even if I could say yes, I'd say no. 'Cause I didn't want to have a reputation of being the guy that you can always call and he'll say yes. I want it to be like I don't want to be that reliable because I want them to call someone else before they call me. And as a superhero, that's what I'd be. Sometimes I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So they would find someone else. Like I would be like
Yeah,
plan B or
but
C. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but I mean, especially with the state of the world now, with the Guardians of the Globe dead, and then the other ones got the crap kicked out of
He
them.
is a uniquely powerful superhero.
Yeah,
He's one
that
of the
and
most powerful ones.
that yeah, he's one of the most powerful just by way of literally all the other ones. A whole like team got slaughtered. Um, the new team got picked apart pretty easily. So
Yeah.
it's only like three or four other people that they could call before him, and then like the other ones can't really fly. So it's like he could get there faster than anybody else. So I mean, he kind of
Yeah,
has
that's true.
to. I mean, if it's not Omni Man, then you're kind of gonna have to go with Mark.
Well, then why even go to school then? Because it's like,
I don't know. I mean, he does have to maintain that life of being Mark. I mean, I mean,
does he though?
why you wouldn't? I mean,
Nah, man.
you just said you would.
Well,
You just said you would. So are you not, or are you going to?
you just convinced me. You changed my mind
So
because
you're gonna be a
well,
superhero
because
24/7.
I would be most of the time. Yeah.
What a terrible
I
life.
mean, I think I'd be like Iron Man. I'd just be like, you know what?
Well, he's
I'm
not.
invincible.
Well that doesn't count.
I
He's
am
not like
invincible.
he's not Iron Man 24/7 though. He's like I'm Iron Man, and then he goes on about his regular life.
Yeah, but like the invincible would be the priority because
Iron
the
Man's
life
not the
is still.
priority. He's Tony Stark
Okay,
like
okay, calm down.
98% of the time.
Okay, I meant as in like Iron Man, how in the Iron Man movie, how he like doesn't even do the alter ego thing. That's what I mean.
Oh well, I don't know. I feel like especially for Mark, he'd still have to. Well, that doesn't really. I don't really get what you're trying to say. Like, so just don't do the alter ego thing. Everybody knows you're Mark Grayson, so now I'm gonna go to your house and kill your mom. Right? I mean, it's not like he's Tony Stark and he could be like, I could hire these guards to protect my family. Like, I mean, the Guardians of the Globe just got murdered, so I mean, it's pretty much fair game.
That's
But I think
interesting.
with Mark, he's in a unique
Maybe I would
situation
just.
too, because he's like a senior in high school, and it seems like he's almost about done. I'm guessing he's about like at least like a third or halfway through the year, so it's like literally why not
Because
just
Will
finish high
can
school?
drive, so they're definitely at least 16. Yeah.
No, they're talking about college, and
Yeah, that's true. So like the seniors, yeah, yeah,
they
you're
have
right.
to. He has
Yes,
to be.
just at least wait to graduate high school and then
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know,
I'd
man.
say
College
just
and being a superhero,
no. I wouldn't go to college,
man,
but
fuck that.
I
Like,
I definitely would say he probably should just graduate high school, find a way to make like an online job, get like an online type of job, or make your own, like be an entrepreneur or something. Work your own hours, get to be a superhero. Sounds pretty easy. I mean, not easy, but easier than what most of these guys
yeah,
do. I mean, like
I feel like
Batman's not being Bat. I mean, being Batman kind of sucks, but he's also not like a relationship kind of guy. So it's like it's not that bad, right? He runs his
his
company.
relationships are pretty distant anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, he runs his company, and then he's Batman at night.
What exactly is his role at Wayne Enterprises?
I don't even know. Uh,
I think
it's
he's
just
just a shareholder. Like he's not. He doesn't even run it. I don't think. He
it
just has a
depends.
say in how it's run.
It depends on the depiction of Batman, but
Yeah.
usually he'll
I don't.
make decisions and stuff. But he's not. I guess he doesn't really isn't really there day to day. I've heard sometimes it's like he sleeps all day because he's out all night and
Yeah.
stuff.
Which makes sense.
But anyway, back to Invincible.
I don't understand. Oh, we get.
Well, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I don't understand. Like, I feel like I would try and monetize my superpower. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I wouldn't do that, but
Why not?
why?
Because it's easy. You have a unique skill.
It's easy for me to go ahead and choke my dog out right now. Does that make it a good thing to do? Like that's not a it's like not a
Make
morally
money.
good thing to do. Be like, hey, you know what? I could save you, but if you don't pay me, I'm gonna let you
Oh,
die.
okay. You misunderstand me. I meant like transporting shit, like or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
I don't
Invincible could
I don't
fly
like
something across the planet and like for $1,000. That's what I mean.
I wouldn't do that. That's nah. Everybody's gonna try to take advantage of you. I do my superhero.
Everyone's
I
trying to
use
take
my
advantage of you no matter
powers.
what.
Well, not really. I mean, I choose to use my powers. I mean, I don't have to. Cecil could come to my house every day and ask me to use my powers, and I'm not going to, and I could just be like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to live a regular life. I use my powers when I save people that I have my other life.
Interesting.
That's how I keep myself. That's how I keep myself sane.
Hmm.
Because then it's like, what's the point of even trying to strike that balance of being yourself versus being Wyatt Man?
What, man? That's an interesting point. Well, maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would just say like, I think maybe I've
You have
considered
to
like,
you have to think about what kind of powers you have, right? Because if you have like
yeah,
if you're like
come on,
if you're like
invincible, dude.
Spider-Man or
What's
something and then you tell everybody that you're Spider-Man, you're complete just like Spider-Man did that in Civil War and he completely screwed himself. They just about killed Aunt May. His life sucks. So it's like
Okay.
you
Yeah,
have
I
to think
wouldn't do
about
that if I was
you're going to
Spider-Man.
have like god like Superman abilities for that to work.
Yeah, if I was Superman, I would just. Well, I've considered what I would do if I like decided to be a drug dealer. Just like, what would I do? Like, just a little thought exercise. And I think that I would just disappear. Like, when none of my family would know where I was, none of my friends, and I would just go and start a new life. I think that's what I would do if I was like, if I just right now I got, well, I mean, maybe I wouldn't now because I'm married and I love my wife and stuff. I love my wife on the bike. That I would just, just like disappear and be Superman somewhere else. I mean, I guess so. My family would probably be like, okay, that's Wyatt, but maybe they would understand. Okay, well, we would be putting ourselves in danger. Let's just not say anything. And if they do say anything, then that would be on them.
Right, right. Well, we really probably should get back to the review. I don't know what I'm going to do at
Okay,
this
all
point.
right, sorry. All right. Where were we? We were at Amber is upset at him. Amber gets invited to a party, and then Mark goes to the party to like see what's up, and she's talking to this guy because she was kind of feeling the guy.
All right.
Turns out the guy was just being friendly with her. He wasn't actually like trying to get in her pants or anything.
Well,
And she's like disappointed.
that's how it seems, but uh at the
I
end of the
mean,
episode she was like laying in bed naked, so I can assume put two and two together that they were sleeping together.
I did not see this.
Yeah, she was in bed, she had like the sheets over her nude body, I guess, and she was like she looked kind of sad or something. So I can assume that unless she just sleeps naked and is always really sad, she probably slept with that guy.
Pull this up. I guess you wouldn't be lying to me about that. But I mean,
No, it's okay. I just for some reason I just like to make stuff
made
up,
it
I
up.
guess.
Made it up.
Yep, just never know what I'm talking about.
No, no. Oh, okay. I'm watching this. Okay, I found this part with her. No, I think she's just. No, dude. She was in the room with No, she wasn't sleeping with the guy. She was in the same room that she was before that Mark and her were supposed to sleep in.
Yeah.
She was just asleep. So she wasn't asleep. She was just sad, laying down. Because I'm looking at it. Mark opens up the door and looks at her, and then takes a deep breath.
All right.
All right. Okay, so Mark gets there, and obviously Mark's like, "Oh, she's cheating on me," and he dips. Well, and then William calls him, and is like, "Hey, like they got him." So Mark goes into the belly of the beast, goes into the lab there, and saves William. But William talks to the guy, and he pretty much says something. I don't know if they had sex. I think he said we had sex on the beach. That was like the most amazing night of my life. And like the guy like snaps, like he's like, oh, like I'm a real person.
Right.
And then he like removes this component that the guy put in his head, and then he starts to free the other cyborgs. And I thought this was something that's I kind of like about the show too. Is almost like the superhero brutality. Because I was thinking, because after the cyborgs are freed, Sinclair runs. Now, and Invincible doesn't go after Sinclair. He frees William, which is, I guess it's like, oh, it's freeing him's more valuable. But like the other guy can free him, like, but he frees William. Then William goes after him and starts just beating this guy up, because he messed with his man, and with his crush or whatever. And and then Sinclair, like, I think he gets up and he's like walking away. I don't even know if this guy can really even run away at this point. And Invincible, he just straight up bitch slaps this one. Like this guy's jaw is just destroyed.
Right.
He can barely even talk. It's like I was just thinking, like, how that was not justifiable at all. Like Invincible could have just grabbed this guy. Like he did not need to do that.
Right.
Dude, it's kind of like when the like if I don't know, like if a child molester or something gets arrested, like they'll give him a rough ride or something. Or like they'll go up, let's take the go where all the potholes are and stuff. The police will do that and stuff.
Right.
And then Cecil arrives and not Shield arrives and takes care of the situation. But and then Debbie is drinking. Oh, Nolan gets home, and Debbie's pretty much is like, "Why did you kill those people? Like, don't bullshit me." And then she throws a bottle at him, and he catches it, which was pretty cool. And she runs upstairs, and he punches a wall, and he just sits there.
Yeah, and he tells her that they're going to talk about it tomorrow. So I'm excited for the next episode because finally, I think at least this episode, it's only 2 episodes left. So either this next upcoming episode or the final one, I can finally stop keeping this close to my chest and they'll reveal what's going on with Omni-Man. And I can't wait.
Leave it as a teaser for the next season.
I think they'll leave. I can't say what I think they're gonna do because it's too much. Well, all right, I'll go as vague as possible. I think they're gonna reveal. I think they're gonna reveal. No, I think they probably will. Honestly, I think they're gonna reveal what happens, like what his plan is, and then like something else is gonna happen, and then it'll be like it'll lead up to like a fight or something, and then that's it. Like the fight they leave the cliffhanger, and then the next season will start with the fight instead of we getting the fight in the last episode.
I think that it'll probably be like. All right, so I'm sticking with my prediction. I think that what are they called? The Travelites or something?
The Viltrumites.
I think the Viltrumites trying to take over the universe. They want to keep the different planets weak so they can, I don't know, genocide them or enslave them or something.
Right.
And Mark is going to realize this. He's going to be like, hey, that's not cool. And they'll fight. I think that it'll probably be. I don't know. I think that something else would have to happen to make them fight. But I think that Omni-Man would be like, Mark, you just don't understand. and I think Mark would be like, "Oh my god, like what's wrong with you?"
Yeah,
But I
and
don't think it would be instantly coming to blows. You know?
yeah, um, I can't really say much because I kind of know what happens.
Yeah.
But we
I
also
just
saw
want to
the
give my
Mauler.
prediction
We
out
also
there.
saw the Mauler twins.
Yeah.
Helping out Robot with his project, which sucks. I can't talk about what they're doing now. No more speculation for me anymore, because I kind of I know what happens now. I
Yeah.
have finally the memory has finally come back, which sucks. But I don't think we're gonna get that until season two. I don't think we're gonna get the continuation of that because it leads into
Yeah.
some pretty big stuff. I don't think we're gonna get that until like season two, um, maybe
So
even
far,
season three.
you ever have something you don't like, but you kind of understand that it's necessary?
Yeah,
That's how I feel like with the Amber plot line.
yeah. I'm not. I don't really care for Amber, but I think it's necessary in the grand scheme of things. Um,
Yeah.
because it's one of those superhero tropes, and they're kind of addressing it. It wouldn't be a teenage superhero story without a love interest that doesn't have powers, right? And I
Right.
think they're like addressing that trope, but I can see why you don't. It's not really interesting, but I can see why it needs to be done. Um,
Yeah.
it's something.
Exactly.
It's certainly something that should be addressed because it's just so popular in this medium,
I would
superheroes.
want. Yeah. I would want to see their take on it, which I think their take on it has probably been the most. Uh, how would I want to say this?
I would say I definitely say the most realistic. I mean, considering
Okay.
the type of characters that Mark, the type well, not characters, the type of people that Mark and Amber are, this is like if this was real and they you had two people who acted just like that in the same circumstances,
Oh yeah.
this is probably what would happen. So in
I
that
think that's
context, I
accurate.
think it's the most realistic. I mean, obviously, other people would have you'd be like, "Oh, I wouldn't do that," but when I'm talking about realistic, I mean, would some person who acts like
Yeah.
this do that? And in that sense, yes, it is very realistic because people who act like that and put in these same circumstances would probably do the same things that they're and go through the same things they're going through. So,
I think that's accurate. But I also, what I was trying to say, before you interrupt, what I was trying to say was that I feel like that's the most traditional aspect of it. Like I feel like with a lot of the other things, they kind of have the twist on it,
right.
but with the Amber Mark relationship, that is like, I mean, that's pretty similar to like Mary Jane and Peter Parker. I feel like it's
But
not really that unique, which is fine.
I
But
I I kind of disagree. I think it's very
okay,
unique in the sense that the direction they're going with it. Um, I mean, I don't. I mean, I. Don't, I mean, it's very obvious they're gonna break up, right? I mean, it's nobody's gonna be surprised that Amber and Mark are about to break up at some point. Um, like
I think
every
they'll break up and maybe get back together.
um, I thought you were gonna say that. I think I'm gonna break up next episode, probably. To be honest, I think
I
it's
think
pretty.
that Eve is gonna have a thing with Mark. That's her name, right? The redhead
Yeah,
woman, redheaded.
nothing. I
Because it was
can.
like she was kind of into him in the. What was it? Were they into each other, or was she just into him
They were. I
towards the
mean, they were
beginning?
into each other, but it was
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
those
he was definitely
situations.
into her.
It's just a situation where Amber got to him first. She was more
Yeah,
straight up and upfront about it, and Eve was with Rex. So that's the only reason that never happened.
yeah, those are weird. Like if you have like someone you're like, man, I think that if things were slightly different, we could be in a relationship.
Yeah,
Like I always kind of wonder, like the if you take the multiverse theory to be accurate, like, I think the universe where this person and I we just ended up being together.
right. I think,
I,
but I think, yeah, I think they'll break up soon. But as I was saying, I think I think they're going an interesting direction with it because usually these things go that, um, they just end up with each other, and he's like the hero's so powerful, but the other character's so powerless, but they love each other and they're gonna stay together forever and all that. And I think it's interesting that that's just not gonna happen. I mean, obviously we've seen it where the superhero gets in the way, but like, it's always that case where it's like, superhero, he has his love interest, and she keeps him down to earth, man. She keeps him so human, and he loves her so
Uh-huh.
much. And then it's
Okay.
just
Okay.
like, yeah, these people kind of like each other a little bit, but like, she's getting sick and tired of this BS. Like, you can't go running around doing all this all the time. She's getting kind of sick and tired of it. I think it's unique in that aspect. I mean, there's a
I think
couple.
you're right.
I think there's a couple times, like couple characters, but like also he never revealed the identity to her. He wanted to, but he never got around to it, which is hurting the relationship for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those situations where you gotta shit or get off the pot.
Yeah,
Like you gotta commit. Don't half-ass. I thought of this phrase earlier today. If you half-ass, no, if you half-ass it, it'll take twice the time. That's tangentially related, but like if he's half-assing it. He should either tell her, "Hey, we can't do this." We should say, "Hey, I really want to be with you, but you need to know that I'm invincible." Like,
right.
that's the only two ways I think that you should go about doing this. Because oftentimes when you half-ass shit like that, that's just not the way to go.
I do think you got to
You-
feel it out a
Yeah.
little bit because if you're just like, yeah, if you're in a relationship with somebody and it's like there's like potential for it to not last, and you just tell them that you're
Yeah.
a superhero, and then later down the line you guys break up. That's just another person you're gonna have to worry about telling other people your secret.
Killer.
Especially if you're the guy like Rex, and you
Hey,
cheat
I
on
mean-
and you like cheat on women. They might just be like, "Oh,
Oh,
girl, yeah, that Rex exploder." Well, then again, he's talking about how he didn't go to school, so he probably doesn't care about the whole secret identity thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. Did you tell that bitch?
Just kill him. That's what I do.
Just kill her or whatever. No one will blame me.
Yeah,
I mean, how would they know? Yeah, I can just pick her up and throw her in the ocean.
you could, and then you could be like, "Ah, I told her my secret, and some villain just killed her."
Dude, you could frame a villain for it.
You really
Yeah.
could.
Why not?
And then
Dude,
but
that
what
would
you got to
be-
do is like beat the villain down and then kill the villain, so that way they can't be like, "No, I would never do that." Just get him out the
Yeah.
way.
Right afterwards, yeah, I'd say like so and so, and no one's gonna question that. Be like, I still love. I mean, she was my ex. We had a problem. No one's gonna go around killing people, especially when they get close to me. And then people will be like, "Yeah, man, you had every right to kill that motherfucker." Especially if it's like a villain that like you kind of had it out for.
Yeah,
Or
it's
some
like your
shit.
arch nemesis or something. You just
You
go out
already
and
don't
kill
like
him.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people would be like, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't have killed him, but I can kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah. Well, in this world, it's like the
Probably
rules.
wouldn't care.
The rules seem a little different. Like if you, I mean, obviously maybe not try to kill all villains, but it's like if you end up killing a villain, it's like, oh man, oh darn, I guess we'll get him next time.
That's lit. I like the idea that like, of, especially because like in the beginning he was having problems landing. I
Yeah.
like the idea of him like trying to land and punch a villain or something, but like he just like totally just like removes the guy's head, just destroys him.
Yeah, because it's like he's
Oh
always
my God.
throwing his punches, and it's like he might be like, oh yeah, this guy's obviously as powerful as I am, so I'm gonna go do that. And the dude's like a regular bank robber, and he just kills him.
Yeah. Yeah. His arm just goes through his head like a pumpkin. Pretty dark humor. That would be extremely dark if you had if it was like a character like this, but that character was like framing, well, like we just said, like if he actually did that shit, like she
That's
was like she broke up with him, and he was like, well, that's a risk I'm not willing to take.
that's
Killer.
certainly I think that's certainly something Omni Man would do.
Yeah, maybe he's already done it. Fuck, I don't know. Like, because it's like, I mean, if you think about it, you really can't just let her be around knowing your identity.
Right.
I mean, especially if you could kill her before she tells anyone that they broke up. That would be a slam dunk. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously murder is wrong, but just thinking about it. Now, you know the sentence is going to be good when it starts with murder is wrong, but
You're right.
all right, well, what are you doing? Not being subscribed to the Elitist Pizza Podcast on Twitter?
Twitch, and YouTube, do it. Now. Give us money.